Hey, this is Tracy Lewis with Stuff and Things with another Winter is Coming Wednesday. This is episode 23. I am continuing revealing the shoebox swaps that I've done. I have two, and these weren't finished. So I knew that I was going to need to dress them up a little bit. So I'm going to first show you what they looked like as I did them per the instructions and the sample card, and then I've got some dressing up that I'm going to do, and we will do both of them today because I have so many cards. I'm going to have a hard time getting through them all, and it does appear that I am going to probably sell at the artisan market on November 12th. I still have to call on that. I'm not quite sure, but in case I do, I'm going to have to go through some of these cards more quickly because I want to get them finished up. And I'll probably have to finish them up this weekend. And on the 7th, there's going to be a community sale at your property. There's like 2,000 homes in here. And people can just drive around on their golf carts and look for stuff for sale. And I may or may not sell my Christmas cards then because I'm right now in the buying phase for our house, so I'll probably want to drive around and buy stuff. So we'll see how that goes because I don't even have a golf cart. I have a bike. Hub just got his electric bike, and it has a thing in the front to put. He's going to have some storage that is coming, I think, tomorrow. So I will have a better bike to be able to get around this weekend. So back to the business at hand. So I have first a very simple card. This is the way it was presented and done up. I noticed that all of the die cutting was done ahead of time. Even this deer was done ahead of time. And I noticed there's a little bit of a shape here. And I definitely wanted to dress it up. I did the spots using the champagne acrylic paint. She had mixed it, either she mixed it with water or she put it on as is onto a stamping spot. So that's a trick for you if you do have those. There was a white and a champagne and a bronze or so, maybe copper, and the champagne carried over, so you can apply that to spots. I didn't know that, so that is a tip. And I do own the champagne and do plan on copying that. You do have to keep it re-wet. Like she said in the first group that was using it, the first couple of people, that it dried out by the time she went back to testing it. So, so you'll have to experiment with how to keep it wet because she did have it drying. So that's the only thing I can say about that because I have not replicated it. So this is the front. I didn't put it all together. The inside had a piece of white. I have since used that white for the other project that I will share with you in a moment. So the dressing up that I am going to do to this card, it won't be a lot, but I did, now I'm looking for it. I created a different sentiment to go over the top of this Merry Christmas, and I popped it up. I went with garden green with white, heat embossed. And this sentiment is from Brightest Glow, which is the sentiment version. Here it is. I see it hiding. I see the corner of it. All right, so this is Brightest Glow, and these are the sentiments. There's a whole bunch of them, and I picked To You and Yours This Christmas because I thought that it would fit over the top very nicely, and see the rectangular shape fits very nicely for the shape. So that's what I'm going to go with on this one. And then I've created, since we have the champagne snowflakes that are kind of iridescent looking, I have this piece of the iridescent trim. I tied a knot, so I basically had a complete circle, and then I tied this knot and I trimmed for being able to apply it to either this side or the other side. Because of this deer, I feel that to balance this card, I need to apply the trim this way, and then I will play around with the knot a little bit and then trim down. This one is a little bit long, so I will trim it down. So once I get this attached and I get the two you and yours attached, my last piece of stepping it up may be that I add the snow and I heat the puff snow, which we have this year. And that might be the last thing I do for this. So I am going to, first things first, I am going to adhere this trim off screen because it's just easier that way. The awesome thing about this room that I am in is that it has, and I will do a walkthrough, I have my last storage that I am buying. I am picking it up tomorrow. They are 3 matching cabinets. They're solder, S-A-U-D-E-R. 2 of them are put together. The third one is new in the box, and they're going to go in the far corner. Hub was giving me a bad time because I was kind of backing out on doing that final addition to the room to give me long-term storage. And I told him if I can find it on used for a fraction of the price, I'll do it. And then like the next day I'm looking through Facebook Marketplace and I find them, and they are an hour away. So I think that is worth the trip, and I am going to head there tomorrow at 2 o'clock. We've got a dolly, which we knew we needed to get. It's a dolly that converts to a hand truck. Harbor Freight is your friend. I love to shop there. And then I even bought a couple of blankets for protecting them in transit, and I've got it all figured out how they're going to fit in the bed of our giant truck, so that should not be a problem. These are the same height as I have Besta cabinets, vertical IKEA ones, and these are going to be on the opposite wall, so they're the same kind of height, same shaker front doors, only, and they're even 3 pieces, but the dimensions of the shaker squares are a little different. But you'll see once I get it all filmed when it's finished. And when I'm filming, Hub is right behind me, and all I have to do is close this exterior glass 3-section door, and that he knows I am filming. I'm either filming or I'm on a call or doing some sort of a live event. And then we've got the sound dampening from these exterior glass panels, and it's just absolutely perfect, as if it was, the whole house was made for us and our particular situation. So there's that piece done. I'm going to apply the sentiment if I can find it, and then I'm going to go dig up my puff snow that I purchased and haven't used. I'm going to pause right now because I think I might have dropped the sentiment somewhere and have to find it. I am back. I have my sentiment. I also have my Snow Puff Accents puff paint, and it had this little arrow, so I went ahead. It's a very thin layer, just so you know, but all it is a warning about a possible allergic reaction. Keep out of the reach of children. So it doesn't give you any instructions on how to do it. I've got my heat gun here. I will probably, when I puff it, I will probably turn that part of the sound off. I'm going to leave the sentiment off for the moment so I can apply the puff paint. This is the first time I've used it this year. This is a little different, I think, than paint that they've had in years past. It comes out very quickly. Has a fine point. I was not sure if I wanted to use this over the stitched because I really loved these stitched hills, but I think it's a good guide to put the puff snow on. See, it's staying very nicely in that, in that shape. It comes out very, very quickly. All right, so now I get to be noisy. All right, there's my paint. That went pretty well. And then after the sentiment is on here, I then have my embellishments, and then I'll move right on to the second project. So again, I have 3 iridescent embellishment options. I've got iridescent pearls, which are pretty white. I have iridescent rhinestone basic jewels that are pretty much on the pink side. And then I have these larger iridescent opal rounds that have a nice balance of the pink and green. And my inclination is to go a little bit smaller. I used a dainty font here. We've got the dainty little deer. I don't think rhinestones are the way to go, so it's either going to be the big opal rounds or the small pearls. I think I'm going to go with the small pearls and just put I noticed that I showed you the kind of little halo of these half loops. I don't know why they're there. It was already pre-done, that part of it. So I'm just strategically hiding them behind a pearl, and I don't think it'll draw attention to itself at all. Now I'm going to quickly add some adhesive and get this applied. It's a little bit on the simple side for me compared to my normal cards, but I do have people that like the woodland and deer who will still really like this card, even though it is a little on the simple side. Not everybody has to have a big fancy card. This had come off, so I need to... I think I'm going to have this side go down. Now what I need to be careful of, this has to be mailed because all of my recipients, although I have people in the park now that I can give cards to, I just need to be careful of the puff paint flattening. Don't want it to flatten. All right, so this is the card number 1. I also do have the envelope. The inside, again, I stole the inside white, and I'm going to use it on the other card that I will show you. So I will write with white ink and probably add my own little doodled drawing on the inside. And that will finish this one off. Now let's work on the second one. So the second one, I actually couldn't find the sentiment, so I wonder if I was supposed to stamp something and I didn't. So it came, and I don't even have a good recollection of how this was supposed to be. So I was doing this with these 2 pieces vertically. And I did stare at this, and there is definitely a right way up on this particular DSP. To me, that is still very upside down. Too many elements on this DSP going the other direction. Doesn't work for me. I went ahead and created my own little sentiment. I was provided everything except the white. 'Tis the season. I did it in the gold, and it is, again, from the brightest glow. And this is pretty much what the card is, and to me that's a little on the plain side, so I've already done some work to dress it up. I told you that I took the white from the other card that was on the inside of the other card, and this is plenty light enough. So a lot of people dress up the insides a lot, like add matte layers. The card classes here at TGO really dress up the front and the inside a lot, way more than I do. And so I'm going to leave this pretty plain inside because I will write a lot in it. I added the whimsical woodland just for fun and to add some depth. And then I will adhere in what I think the arrangement was on the card, but with the added white layer, which I think then coordinates very well with the white in this DSP, as well as the white of the sentiment for 'Tis the Season. And I will leave everything glued down. I really like how this label has this loose piece that just gives it a little more dimension. And then for trim, I am going to probably go away and create a fluffy bow of some variety, and it will contain some non-Stampin' Up products. I've got, for dressing it up, I have this cream and gold that I could use in the crochet trim. This comes from Hobby Lobby. Alas, the baker's twine, the metallic trim, Stampin' Up retired, so I've had to go off and go a little rogue there because I really like my fluffy bows for the holidays. And then I also will mix in, I've got the iridescent that I probably will not use. I have the white seaming tape, and I will combine some layers together to do some sort of fun trim. I will probably just save that for the photography. I will go ahead and adhere the bits of this card with you to get it mostly finished, and then save photography where I will add the bow. I might talk with you about the possible embellishments for this one. One thing I might want to do, I have been, now that I am in a home, I can be a little bit messy, and so I've been using the gilded leafing, and I've been very happy with what I can create with the gilded leafing. I will be sharing the projects that I just finished. Libby and I had our first crafting session with me in my home. It was awesome fun. I got to be messy, and I will share those projects with you another weekend. Or another Wednesday, I should say. I just crafted them over the weekend. And where I might be able to add the gilded leafing is, I will show you here in a moment. I went ahead and bought, for the first time, the people who do the classes here, because of the humidity, I've talked about this in the past, they use glue. And the only glue I own is the mono glue. So I am kind of gearing up for using up all of my adhesive runners and switching to using glue. So I have the Stampin' Up fine tip glue to play around. I know that people struggle with the tips. If you guys have any tips on using those tips and tricks on how best to have success with the applicator. I was using it yesterday to do the gilded leafing, and it worked very well. I found that I had to give it a second to dry, but not let it get too dry, and I really had to kind of time it well. So here's what I've done. I've got these 2 layers. I'm going to bring the camera up a little bit so you can see it. Sorry about that. Okay. So there's the whole card without the sentiment, and I have the sentiment that I am going to apply, and I want it to span, be in the lower quadrant. And then, like I said, next is going to be probably something really fluffy. I'm going to add the gilded leafing to this area, probably in lines around the green and then down here. So I'll add some gilded leafing. And then I'm going to do a fluffy bow of some variety and add the adhesive dots. I'm thinking that I may color with the cherry cobbler. Probably these iridescent pearls, because I really, again, like the little more elegant look. The other possibility is to do gold, and the only gold I have right now, I just got another pack of the brushed gold. I only have one on my old pack, but I do have a new set, so maybe I will go ahead instead, since I know I'm going to do gilded leafing on the leaves, I'll go ahead and put these on. I'll have to work around where I've put them. You gotta watch these dots. Sometimes the adhesive does not come off, but if you put them back on and kind of slide it sideways, then you will get the round little adhesive bit to come with it. So let's do 2 big ones. We'll do a small one. One trick for placing these, I always do odd numbers. I like to place them somewhat near a corner, but not too close to a corner. You want to make it look naturally not hand placed. So you don't want to put it perfectly in any location unless you're going to do the dots. Some people line up the dots 1, 2, 3 all together. Those can be lined up perfectly, but other than that, if you're doing the randomness, there's a trick to getting it correctly random, I guess. So it is positioned purposefully to make it appear to be random. So that one is just about done. Like I said, the last piece that you will see on this is the fluffy bow. So that is what I've got for today. And I still am too close to show you both. So that should work. And the other card. Let me know what you think of these 2 cards. These again were shoebox swaps that were little kits that we worked on during the quarterly meeting, and 3 of the shoebox swaps that I did were Christmas. We did some Halloween ones, which I already showed you, and I do have one Thanksgiving project floating around here, and I will get that out in the next week or so. In fact, I've got to get my Thanksgiving cards. Okay, so Thanksgiving's coming. I will get my Thanksgiving cards sent out on the 15th. I will probably do like a showcase and talk a little bit about shipping. I don't think anything has changed. It is still 99 cents for shipping a non-machinable, lumpy, bumpy card. I have always been very much on the conservative side and will always err on the side of paying 99 cents. And that's a card that's an ounce or less in weight and is less than a 1/4 inch thick. So I've always erred on the side of paying more. I'll even pay there's an upcharge for if it's over a 1/4 inch thick. So if it doesn't fit through my jig, you've seen me do that over the years. So I'll do an episode that week of the 15th. I don't know what day that is. We're on the 1st today. So that'll be coming, where I get all my Thanksgiving cards finished up. I have ordered a stamp from rubberstamps.com for my address stamp, and I will be putting in there the new address for people. And I have been traveling for 6 years, and very few people have known my address. I think I only let my mom and Libby actually send me a card to general delivery, because they'll get mad at me if I have everybody send them. So most of my cards I sent to my in-laws, and I get them, 3 to 6 months after the holiday, which is still wonderful. I still love to get them. And I will send everybody my change of address, hoping that I'll actually get some Christmas cards so that I can hang them up. I love to have them up for the holidays. That's all I've got. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about these cards that I have done, leave it here on the video or over on my blog. I will have the full supplies list. I really appreciate your support and hope you're enjoying this year's Winter is Coming Wednesday. And as always, oops, sorry, bumped the thing. Thanks for watching.